Shabbat Shalom, brethren. I hope this message finds all of you well. It's been a long time. Well, almost 3 weeks. But to me, honestly, it feels like I've been away for like 2 months. I am currently in England, staying in the house of a friend of mine, a childhood friend. And I just wish you a very wonderful Sabbath. I'll let you know that you have never been far from my thoughts as I move around. I want to give you a little bit of some background information on the things I've been doing and the way I have been. I was told that the message I sent on Pentecost was too short. Yes, it is too short. I had just less than a minute to actually do my greetings to you. And if you notice, I was rushing a little bit. Well, now I seem to have a little more time. But all the same, I'm going to not talk too much so that I can make this file that I'm going to upload not too large and people can get it. I arrived in Jerusalem, in Israel, safely. I went through Frankfurt, Germany, and we stopped at Tel Aviv. There were 44 ministers and their wives at the program. 3 of us came alone, couldn't come with our wives. As I told you, it's something that we had to sponsor on our own. And I was the only one who was given the opportunity to actually pay for the entire trip over a period of 1 year. I actually started doing that since last year. Brethren, it's exciting to be in Israel. I understand more clearly why God said that land is a holy land. And where He's putting, and why God is putting the capital of His new kingdom that is coming from heaven in Jerusalem. I understand that. It has a mixture of temperature and climate. From one end, lush green open vegetation, to hills and rolling plains on one side, grassy flatlands on another side, deep lush valleys on one point, as well as wide, huge, barren deserts. It's just amazing to look at all the various mix that comes into Israel. I also understand why Israel, or Jerusalem for that matter, has been a point of conflict for various empires all through the generations. I know that at least Jerusalem has been attacked a number of times. But you know what? It has actually been attacked 27 times in its history. Over the past 6,000 years, Jerusalem has been attacked 27 times. And it has exchanged hand and conquered by various powers over the last 2,000 years 25 times. Isn't that amazing? Jerusalem means the city of peace, but it has really known little peace. The Bible refers to Jerusalem more or less in a kind of like the mother of the church, as a representative of the temple of God. And the church is the temple of God. Jerusalem has known little peace, yet the plan of God for Jerusalem is huge, it's great. God has a special attraction and a special likeness to Jerusalem. Just like the church, you and I. We are the temple of God. We often go through several trials. Sometimes it looks as if we don't know whether God is really with us. But brethren, never doubt it. Just as God's plan for Jerusalem is grandiose. Because it says in the Bible that in the last days all the nations of the earth will rise up and go to Jerusalem to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And many people will go into it. They will say, come, let us go up to Jerusalem, to the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us His ways and teach us of His paths. And we will walk in the law of the Lord. I understand a little bit more why that is so. Even when they say, let us go up to Jerusalem. Because Jerusalem is actually located on the hilly side of Israel. Anyway, let me give you a little bit of information of the things I experienced in Israel. It will take me several months to actually go through some of my experiences. I have hundreds of photos that I took. We landed in Tel Aviv. As I mentioned, there were 44 ministers and their wives who are there. It was really exciting to every one of us to be there. And it made the Bible come a little more alive to us. Honestly, I really wish more people could be there with me to experience it. I really wish so. Most importantly, I really wish my wife was there with me. I miss that so much. From Tel Aviv, the following morning, we left, but without staying too long in Tel Aviv. We went to visit Caesarea. not Caesarea Philippi, but Caesarea, where Herod, King Herod the Great, built a huge temple overlooking the bay of the Sea of Galilee. It was actually in that temple that Jesus Christ was brought before Herod. The place where Paul himself was imprisoned under Agrippa II, before he was taken to Rome, was also there in that temple. We looked at the ruins of that ancient temple. We looked at the ruins of the palace. We walked and looked at the amphitheater or the arena that was built for the games. Remember I told you the story of Spartacus, when the Romans will have slaves or people that they capture and bring them in as slaves, and they will have them fight to the death. Well, I looked at the arena. I looked at the stands where people sit. I looked at the small center in the middle, where when they're having the horse races, they will move around in circle, when the aim is actually survival. Not too far from there, you could see almost the city itself. We walked along what is called the Cardo, which is the main city. When Romans built their own city, they used to have two major streets. The one that runs from north to south is referred to as a Cardo, and the one that runs from east to west is called a Documenus. Well, the Romans have peculiar habits. I'm going to show you pictures and explain that to you a little bit more when I come. It's not going to be as interesting just for me to say it. And you'll see why, one of the reasons why they actually hated the Israelites or the Jewish people. We left Caesarea and we went to where it's called Paneas. Jesus was coming into Paneas at a time when they were celebrating the god Pan. It's like a goat god. It was at the mount of the Golan Heights, on the lowest shores of the Golan Heights, that Jesus Christ asked his disciples, "What do people say I am?" An interesting question at that point. Hold on, please.